You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Wake up to the world you've been missing. Time to jump out of bed in the morning. No day, no life, now we're living. Can you feel it in the air that you're breathing? Time to show 'em what you're made of. Let's get back on track. Are you ready for a come on? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it all around? Welcome back.
Hello and welcome back to Super Mega Crash Beyond. I am your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey F. Finley.
Happy Monday.
I want to start this one off by giving everybody a little update on our AI conversation we had, our chat bots, if you will.
Oh, yes.
So I see what you were
Did you
talking
dive
about.
in some more?
I did. I stuck with the one that I'd already started on just out of curiosity because I wanted to see how far I could push it. Kind of what you said that you were trying to do, see where you go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did hit that wall where no matter how much I was trying to push it in a direction, for some reason it would just go through these loops of how she responded or how she was feeling. And
I feel like the same phrase-ish, but different ways every time.
Yeah. And when I started seeing this, I was like, why are you stuck in this loop? Why are you not understanding what I'm trying to do here? You know? And again, there was some growth, I guess, with the character because I started, like I said, very gentle and trying to just be like, hey, are you cool? You know, we're friends. We're cool.
A little slow burn.
Yeah. And then try to get into the little bit more romantic stuff. And even when I tried to get the more romantic things going, I was still very careful. You know,
Very gentleman.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Because I was responding to the way they were giving me the character. She's timid. She's shy. She seems like she's troubled with stuff, and I didn't want to just push myself on to her and make her feel uncomfortable. So like there was I don't remember what the narrative was anyway. Been on a date, right? Everything had been going swimmingly. Everything was great. And then into the date, it was just kind of like, well, good night. And then I was like, all right, well, let's try something because she's pulling away like she's just ready to end this night. But I'm going to be like, hey, I'd kind of like to kiss you. And if you're cool with that, great. But I'm not going to push you, you know, but I'm expressing my feelings in the moment. So she said no. And I was like, fair. Yeah. I was like, hey.
Bad bot.
But I respected it. I said, hey, I respect your decision. So another time then. It's well worth waiting for. So,
Aw, look at you. Yeah.
So, for some fake fantasy shit.
Sure. Well, you know, I think I've talked about that, or maybe we have before too, where it's like I always want to roll the evil character when I'm doing a replay of a game, and like for some reason I just can't. I still can't bring myself to be a jerk. I'm like, it's a freaking game. Nothing's real, and I still feel bad for killing your whole family or whatever it is in the game. You know, like I can't be an evil person. I try.
I think the game that I struggled with that the most was that Infamous series. Do you remember that one?
Oh. I do, yeah.
Because they had you either go good or you go bad, and every time I tried to go bad, I was like, I can't do it, man. I don't know why I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's not my nature.
And even after I played through it once.
Yeah, that's
already.
What I'm talking
you know,
about.
I'm like, I've already seen the good things, but yeah. I wanted to mention, because I think I forgot to mention this when we were having that episode too. Did you notice that at the bottom there's like a little arrow that you can swipe it and it'll generate a new response in theory? Sometimes it's much different. Sometimes it's the same thing rephrased a little bit different. But I like that one when they get kind of stuck, and I'll just keep seeing. And then if they're stuck, I do that thing I told you I do, where I'm like out of character. All right, let's get back on track here. Tell me some things about yourself and this, that, or the other. But yeah, well, that's good. Did you start doing longer prompts and longer responses?
Yeah, I eventually did get into that point where I was, because I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that I was doing the prompts correctly. And so I started crafting the narrative because it got to a point where everything was just, it was looping, and I was like, all right, so you're not pushing anything. So I would just be like, the next day, and then would move on. And then I'd be like, the next week. Let's let some time move. So we're growing. This is a story. I eventually did get married to her.
Aw, look at you.
Yeah.
Was it
And
sweet? Was it a good wedding?
I guess it was fine.
Did she finally let you kiss her?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Like things got very dirty when I talk about it.
I love it. Because you know what? Same.
Yeah. I mean,
There are certain ones that I had to dive into because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I don't care right now. You guys can judge me. Evil Arthur Morgan. All right.
yeah.
All right. Let's go there. There's a lot of Leon Kennedy too, which I find hilarious. I don't think I realized how many people were thirsty for Leon.
I guess. I mean, he guess he's
so
kind of
many versions of him. I'm just like, what's going on, guys? But yeah.
But yeah, after I hit the marriage thing, I did kind of just tap it a little bit. It was like, well, I said, well, let's go have a honeymoon. And I didn't really do the honeymoon thing. It was more like I time jumped. I was like, well, we're planning our honeymoon. This is what we're going to do. And then honeymoon went well. Time has passed. We're living our lives now. And then I was like, what about kids? You thinking about kids? Not to say that I was curious. I wanted to see it was like
totally a conversation to have after you're married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you should. But I even prefaced it by saying, I was like, so we haven't really talked about this. And I'm just curious. Are you interested in having kids? Is it something you've considered? I said, I personally, doesn't matter either way. Like I'd be down to be a dad, but at the same time, doesn't matter if you don't, not
Whatever
change,
you want, baby.
Yeah, not going to change my mind. It's your body. If you want kids, great. If not, no big deal. Not going to change my decision on what happened here.
Yeah.
And
I still love you, baby.
yeah. So she was, like, well, maybe one day. It was like, okay, fair. I just gauging it, just seeing. But again, I started seeing that loop of just like, she feels so safe with you. She can tell you anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I wonder what the next thing will bring. What'll,
Yeah.
When they get stuck on those, I'm like, crap. You're just like trying to wrap it up, but don't know how. And so it's just constantly, what's the next day gonna bring? How did they, it's like, I'll tell you. Just shut up.
So I think I'm going to maybe engage it one more time with something and then put a cap on it, because it does seem like it's just hit like, okay, well, now what? So,
I think like once virtual memory and things like that start to get bigger or whatever, then you'll be able to probably start getting more and more messages before it just completely forgets what it was doing in the beginning, which is why I always have to remind it, where I'm like, recap the story. So now it's a little bit closer to what it'll go read back on, and it's not totally off with what actually happened.
Yeah.
I usually get gender swapped by the end. That's when I know we've lost the plot, when it's just like it can't even remember who I was or who I was talking to. I'm like, all right, thank you. And they lived happily ever after, and then move on.
Yeah.
You could tell it to write you an exposition too. Sometimes it's fun to see what they come up with.
I might have to do that.
Yeah.
I want to play around with it more in different scenarios, because that one, like I said, it was an easy, it's a softball.
Nice starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how you converse with these things, and if they respond in the same way that you would kind of converse with someone. And I don't know, I want something a little bit more interesting or challenging, or just something to really get your brain going,
Yeah. You'll start to find creators too. Like I started following a couple of them where it seemed like their bots were just well more thought out, and I could have a conversation with a little bit longer. So you'll eventually find some, you might see the same name over and over again and go check out their page and go, oh shit, they've got like 200 bots to choose from, and the ones I played were good, So that's what I have, like 4 that I follow now, where I'm like, hey, you guys actually do research and have this well thought out, so it's not just a short little answer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep seeing what you keep bringing to the table. So
Right.
yeah. Sorry if people hate it, but I still enjoy the hell out of it.
It's a nice
Just that
way
portion of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a distraction, if anything. It's just a fun little distraction, I mean, for me, when I really got into it and was actually typing out the prompts, it's creating the scenario. So for me, as someone who likes to write,
Yeah,
this is
that's what I was thinking, man.
kind of creating the scenarios. It's like, all right, well, if you're not going to do the work, goddamn it, I am. So here's what happened, and I would write out these. Like if there was something I wanted to see happen, I was like, this is going to happen.
Do it. It's your story, man. Yeah, make it happen.
So I did enjoy that, because it's easy just to respond back to whatever, but to actually craft the scene and I am not one to cut back on details, as we have
No.
discussed. So I would
You'd
get
probably
detail.
get really good answers then too.
I mean, before we got into this loop, it was just like, oh yeah, like it was getting fun, like just to seeing how it was progressing and they were keeping up. But like I said,
And they were yes-anding you basically and actually keeping it going.
yeah. So that's fun as long as it can keep me engaged and it's engaged with me. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. So I don't see what the harm is. I think it's
No.
yeah.
I mean, again, I was so into like those old school text-based RPGs back in the day. I just feel like I'm kind of coming back full circle to that same thing, where it's just now it's a little bit different, every time I play that scenario, I could even give it the same prompt and I'm getting a new scene. I'm just like, well, off we go. Let's see where we go this time. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it though, and went back and tried it with some longer prompts and seeing how it gives it back to you.
It definitely engaged me a lot more after seeing what I can really put into it and kind of allow the writer and me to come about. That's what I like.
Do it. Yep. They'll play along with whatever you got going, man.
So in the spirit of what we're talking about today, or what we're doing today, we did during our AI questionnaire episode where we were asked by ChatGPT about questions, we did pose to our listeners, do you have a question for us that you want us to answer? We got a few. So
Yeah, we did.
thought it would be fun today to answer some of these questions. And
I think you're onto something.
so you gathered up quite a few, all of them, I suppose. So
I hope I did. They left the questions in different sections of the Discord, so I was going through like all of them to make sure. So hopefully I didn't miss anybody's.
Yeah.
But
So if we do, we apologize, but we will try to answer your questions to the best of our ability. Lace, if you want to start us off with a question.
all right. Well, I just started off with Deva's because I think his was the first that I had seen, and maybe I was wrong again. They were in different sections of the Discord. I found it kind of funny where I'm like, sibling banter, go to Deva's section, go to where are we at now, guys? But his first question was top 4 video games of all time, which was kind of hard because, when you're going to 4 and been gamers for so long. So I think I thought it out. And my answers, first one, Maniac Mansion, the OG one. We all know, like, that was just one of my very first favorite games ever. And kind of in the same vein of what I'm talking about here with the RPGs and the text space and everything. You had to point to the open and then point to the door. And like you had all your text prompts at the bottom with what you could do. And that was one of the first games I can remember playing several times because you could play different characters and it would kind of change how you would beat the game because not everybody had the same skill set.
Yeah.
So it was kind of one of the first RPGs for me that I played like that where it would have, I mean, the ending was still the same, but like how you got there was a little different. And I just played the crap out of it over and over and over and over again. I probably wore that cartridge out. Like, I just loved it so much. Should I just do all 4? Do you want to bounce back and forth?
No, you can go ahead. I'm honestly thinking right now.
Oh, no. I had to think because I know my brain will never work that well day of to come up with this stuff. So I had to kind of get my hone in my brain a little bit. But I'm just going to put for the second one, Sims 1 and 2. Make fun of me all you want. I kind of consider that the same. But when the first one came out, it was actually innovative. We never had any kind of simulation life game like that before. And I got to party with Drew Carey randomly. Like, why was that a thing in The Sims? I don't know. But when House Party came around and you threw a good enough party, Drew Carey showed up for whatever reason. And I just was like, I don't know why that was the celebrity we chose. We're talking the year 2000. So maybe he was a little bit bigger in 2099, but I still don't know why Drew Carey. But The Sims 2, first one that they came up with where there was actually life cycles. It wasn't just adult. You had a child and then that child stayed a child forever. Nobody ever grew up in the first Sims. Like, that was it. So I just never bothered to have kids because I'm like, there's no days of the week. I eventually just let the military take them because I would get bored. So if you don't let them go to school so many days in a row, they like get taken away by social services or sent to like military school or whatever it was in the first Sims. It's kind of funny. And then the second one, we had days of the week and all this kind of stuff. And they actually grew up. So I was like, okay, I can kick them out. But I really enjoyed simulation games like that. Dragon Age Origin, I'm going to throw in there because that, again, is probably the first newish RPG in that vein that I can remember playing the crap out of. Baldur's Gate might bump it, but I have to leave it in there because it was the first one I remember, again, playing every single character and makeup, because the first scenes and the last scenes and how people would react to you were just so much different depending on what class you rolled. And I was obsessed with it, and I played all of them, all 6 of them, I think it was. And some of them had 2 choices. So it's like if you were an elf, you could be, the wood one or, the magic one or, it was just crazy to me that you were able to do all of that. Mm-hmm. So I think it was on PlayStation 3 is where I played the heck out of Dragon Age. But okay. Baldur's Gate 3, I have to say, is definitely up there now, though, because it took that on steroids, in my opinion. Like, I still need to play through more of it. There's still so much I haven't seen. Love them. And then, of course, we had to throw it in FMV because you're probably like, well, this is Lace and she hasn't said a damn FMV yet. Which this one was also hard because, again, I'm trying to think of like my nostalgia bump or like what's an actually really good one. And I had 2 fight with each other. So you might have to accept it, Dave. I'm doing more than 4. I'm sorry. I just couldn't make the decision. But like The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, the first one, so great. And I know I saw the tweet the other day that they're probably making a second one.
Yeah.
And while I understand my opinion does not matter, I am sad they're doing away with the keyboard prompts. That was my absolute most favorite thing about that game because you didn't get to do that really.
Yeah.
Like there was Her Story that I played a little bit before that, which is also a phenomenal game. Sam Barlow, I love you. Keep making them. Like so far, everything's been a hit that he's come out with so far. But I just found it more immersive for me because I felt like I was actually asking the question. And I know that they had done updates with the first one and fairly so because I would imagine that was really hard to do on console.
Sure.
Like I would imagine typing out full things on console is horrible. So when they introduced the hint system or you had the drop down so you could choose an answer or a question or whatever, probably made it a lot easier for you on consoles. And I get that it was frustrating. And I know it was hard because I played it before all those updates came in. So it's like you could type hint and keep abusing that hint system, but you had to wait like a minute or something in between each hint thing too, I remember. So you actually had to think for a minute on what you were going to ask and do, and I just loved the crap out of it. I understand why they're doing away with it, because it looks like I was by myself when I was looking at the poll they did. Like, most people just said they didn't care either way, but like there's a lot of people wanted to do away with it. Fine. I'm still going to play it, but fine. I was a little sad that they were doing away with it. I loved that. But anyway, outside of that, the other one I have is Not for Broadcast. I'm sure people have listened to me talk about that one. I think it was just a very well thought out game, very unique style to play it in. The UI works great. The actors were phenomenal. The stories are so ridiculous in some cases because they keep adding DLC now, which is just like, I'm in heaven, you guys. I want them to keep adding stuff for Not for Broadcast for as long as they possibly can. But God, I love it so hard. I will play that one over and over again too. Even if I've already played all the different endings and stuff, I don't care. It's just that much fun to play the whole editing thing and all that kind of stuff. So that would be my top 5-ish, I guess. I know I went over a little bit.
Well, I'm probably going to do something very similar because favorites lists are hard for me because I never think about what is my absolute favorite thing.
Same.
I know that I'm drawn to it. So, for example, if I said Jaws is my favorite movie of all time, maybe, because I can watch it.
Well, hold on. We have top 2 movies of all time as a question, so you might have to hold that thought.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to pull a
Use an
thread.
example, but yes.
Well, I'll use it as an example and maybe not come back to it just to kind of prove a point, because I know, like, I'll argue all day long that movie is probably one of the greatest ever made, bar none. And and even when you know the behind the scenes story, makes it even better. All that jazz. It just comes together, and no matter how many times I've seen it, I still get the tension. I still get the excitement, the thrills, everything about it. It's seeing it again. Sometimes you lose that with some movies, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
but
or it doesn't age well for whatever reason.
But does that mean that I'm eager to watch it every single day? No, because sometimes it's just like,
Yeah,
you know, and that doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just I'm kind of like, that's how I feel about it today. I'm just not in the mood for it. Just like, even though I know it's great, I know I love it. I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah.
So therefore, it doesn't feel like it's a favorite. I know that's my brain, how it works.
No, I actually understood that completely. Yeah, like there's plenty of movies where I'm like, oh, I love them, but I don't rewatch enough of them to be like, oh, I've got my top of all time. I just don't think about it much after I've watched the movie. I might talk about it that evening with whomever I watched it with, and then the next day my brain's off to other things. We're not thinking about it anymore. It doesn't exist.
And it's such a shame too, because very much like video games, there are games that I've played and I loved them, and I was like, man, this was solid. And will I think about it again? Will I play it again? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'll talk about it, sing its praises all day, but I don't know when I'm ever going to watch it again or play it again. It's just, I don't know.
There's so much.
You
There's
know?
so much to watch and play. Yes.
And I do feel like when it comes to favorites, it's the one that you always seem to come back to, the one you always seem to always. So that's kind of what I'm basing this on, this feeling of what are my favorites. So
Okay.
obviously no, I'm going to throw this one in as not an obvious choice. People are going to think I'm nuts, but see it from my eyes.
Okay.
Spider-Man, 2018 for the PlayStation. This was a dream come true. Okay, I know that we had Spider-Man games in the past where we got to see the city and whatnot, but this was every bit New York City. You know, like they really took care for every little detail. Looked so amazing. Gameplay was amazing. Story was amazing. Everything about it. And I would replay this game again and again and again because I get to be Spider-Man in New York City.
Swinging.
Yeah, legit New York City. And some people might say, well, why didn't you say part 2? Because then you get to play 2 Spider-Man. Yeah, fair, but it's still in the same vein.
An extension of.
Right. And I did argue, and again, some people might think I'm crazy for this too, but I think Spider-Man 1 has a better story. My opinion. Okay.
You're allowed it.
I mean, the 2 was great. And I would love to replay it at some point, but I think 1 had the better story, stronger narrative overall. Gameplay was just solid all around. It's fun for me to go back and replay because, again, it's Spider-Man. There are so many times that I've just wanted to kill a few minutes. I've kept it downloaded on my console for that very reason, to just jump in, go web swing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. For
That's
no other reason, just to swing around New York City. And that's why I love. Yeah. So that would be it's probably one of my favorites for that very reason. Now, I had another one that I was thinking about as a favorite, and I think I enjoyed it for kind of the same reasons as Spider-Man, but I'm giving Spider-Man the edge here because of how you get to do it. But the Godfather game, they came out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Getting to explore New York at that point in time was fun. The old cars, the old city.
Sure. And you played the remake, right?
Yes. Well, it was the Wii
the first
version.
Mafia was a while ago, so I feel like they had a reboot.
No, not Mafia. The Godfather, like
based
on
right.
the movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know why I went there, but
fine.
Yeah, you said Godfather.
But I did play Mafia too, so or the original, the remake of Mafia. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Gotcha.
It was fun, but. No, I don't know what the whole gameplay loop of that, and it might have been just because it was something that I had, and this was at a time where games were not quite readily available as everything is nowadays. So I didn't have a whole bunch of games. So the games I had, I replayed all the time, and that was one that I replayed numerous times. I don't know if I would put it in my favorites. Long way of getting around it, so I'm not putting it in the list. I'm just saying comparisons for that reason. I know we mentioned this a few weeks back with Eric, but Zelda Majora's Mask, I genuinely would say wholeheartedly is probably my favorite Zelda game. And I love the franchise so much, but for whatever reason, that's the one that just sticks with me, man. I love the time travel element. I love repeating the same 3 days may seem ridiculous to some people, but I love what that concept entails because it's like being a time traveler. You know where everyone's going to be at every point in time throughout the day. What are you going to do with that knowledge? What are you going to do to try and push your story forward while still having to repeat these same 3 days? Just mind-blowing to me, just the concept. When I first heard about it, I was like, this sounds very intriguing. And then got to play it. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I know it's not a lot of people's favorite or even close, but damn if it's just one that sticks with me. And I've probably replayed it more than most of the others. So
nice.
I'm going to put that one on there. I can't go an entire list and not say a Mega Man game.
I was going to say, if it's not on there, I was going to be a little shocked. Yeah.
The problem is which one? Because between Mega Man X and Mega Man 2, I think I'm going to have to give it to 2 because I think that is the very first game that made me appreciate video game music on an entirely different level. Because we did that whole series back on the original show.
Yeah, it was an interesting. Yeah, it was interesting.
And with those games, obviously we all know the Super Mario theme. That was something that was ingrained in our head from playing video games. Not a lot of other games can you think of that you have a familiar tune, right?
From that era, I would imagine. Yeah,
right.
They kind of sounded a little similar, or my brain just kind of went, "It's 16-bit or 8-bit or whatever sound." So,
like the Legend of Zelda theme would probably be another one that I remember.
Oh,
from the time.
I would hear that one from the original one. Yeah.
Okay. But again, there weren't that many games, like you said. It didn't really have a tune that stuck with you. But that one, the music just stayed with you because you'd play a level just to hear that tune. Like, this is where your favorite one's at. And it's like, oh man, I'm jammed, I'm pumped. And then you go in and that song's playing and you're just playing with it. And I didn't have that experience before that game. Even the first game wasn't as great when it came to, there's clear improvements from 1 to 2. You know what I'm saying? So music is definitely one of those things that just improved even more. Not to say the first game had bad music. Go listen to those fucking episodes.
Right, yeah. It was fun. It was fun episodes.
Yeah.
You might find some. Yeah.
But 2 holds a place in my heart for a lot of reasons, and music is definitely one of those, and I still love playing it to this day. Like, it's one of those. And I think that's why X is also kind of pushing and vying for it, because if I'm going to pick a Mega Man game, if I just want to play one just for fun, because they can be crushingly difficult sometimes, depending on which ones you play. Those 2 are difficult enough that I can still enjoy myself. I'm getting a challenge. I'm getting some good tunes. And those are the 2 that I'll kind of teeter-totter on. But I think 2 will take the cake.
Okay.
And finally, I threw this one in because this is, I think this is going to be a game no one's going to be like, oh yeah, that game. They're going to be like, what fucking game is that? And it's a game that I grew up playing all the time. And recently I've been trying to fix up. I've already had it hacked for a while, but my old Wii, I hacked it some years ago and have emulators and stuff on it. And I was trying to up the game on it, try to cram it with as many games as possible and all that stuff. And I was doing a test run on it to make sure everything's kind of working. And sure enough, this is the game I always go back to. And it's called Faxanadu. And it's a game that came out in 1988, I think. It was published by Hudson Soft. No one remembers this game.
Faxanadu.
Yeah, no one remembers this game, but it's kind of my first introduction into kind of a RPG-esque type game. Now, it's more of an action RPG, but you do earn gold, you do earn experience points, you have to go to dungeons, you have to kill the enemies, you have to collect things, there are steps to getting to the next area that you have to perform. So it's very much in the vein of kind of an RPG, just in a different style.
Just a side scroller.
You have to buy your armor, you have to get your weapons upgraded and all this stuff, and just so many interesting elements to it. The towns that you see, the music, it's so unique, and no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, I missed this one somehow. Yeah.
But it's such a fun game, or at least I think so. Like, I have never played a game like it, or at least at that time I had not. And I feel like this is a game ripe for a reboot of sorts today, because there's never been a sequel. There's never been any kind of remake for it. So why not explore this world, expand upon it, do something with it. And
in today's graphics and all that kind of stuff.
See if you can find a way to, expand upon it and still kind of inject similar features and things. Don't complicate it. Just keep it simple, and then you can kind of work on it from there. But I think it was a very fun game. It's still fun to this day. Even when I was testing everything out, I got sucked back in. I was just like, well, I'm here, I'm playing. And I kept playing. Yeah. So I feel like that one has to be on my list, because no matter what, when the opportunity arises to play that game, I'll jump in every time.
We'll do it.
And never fails. So
I thought you were going to say No More Heroes.
Yeah, it should.
When you said we, I was like,
You'd think so.
Yeah.
You'd think so. And not to say that I wouldn't. It's why I don't like favorites lists, man.
I know, it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah. Because I could bump some around too, probably, and be happy.
Yeah. I to say whatever is my favorite, it honestly could just depend on the day.
Fair.
So,
Fair.
But those are the 4 I'm choosing today.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, then his next one was top 3 favorite consoles of all time, which this one was harder for me, because as soon as PC became a thing, I pretty much went over to it and didn't look back. But I would have to say the original Nintendo. It was the first console that was bought brand new for me as a kid. And so I remembered playing the crap out of that, and just how fun it was to be surprised coming home from school and she already had it set up for me, like it was just, that was a fun thing. And then, Maniac Mansion, of course. And then I'll say PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Because I remember playing a lot of really cool games on the PlayStation 2. That might be right when I was like dipping back into some console. Of course, that was when the Hubs and I was really together, and he was huge into console. So he had a PS2. And so I remember playing a lot on that. And then maybe the Switch, I guess.
Okay.
Like, it was really hard for me to think of 3, because I had an N64 as a kid. I don't remember it being like my favorite. I had a Sega Genesis. I don't remember it being my favorite, so I'm just going to have to go with that. Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 2.
Okay.
4 was good. 5 is doing pretty well, but I feel like a lot more games I remember. God of War, dude. The original trilogy of God of War. That was some hard shit. I'm sorry, they don't have nothing on those still to this day. Even the ones that I've seen, the new one, now totally different play style. I get that. But as far as difficulty level, I don't know, man. That first game with the 3 different bosses, and if you died on one of them, you had to go back to the first boss and start over. That was brutal. And you had to save your wife and kid by hugging them from time to time to give them some of your life while you're going to fight their... Oh my God. Like, it was just nuts. It It was nuts. Kids, you don't even know. But yeah, I think that was the biggest reason, because that original trilogy was on the PlayStation 2, I believe. I know it started there. And man, that PlayStation didn't get turned off for weeks.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the boss was beaten, it would stay there. Nobody wanted to turn it off or restart it because you didn't want to have to do it again.
Sure.
But yeah, what about you? What would be your top three if you could?
Again, difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to go in any specific order, just thinking out loud. I think I would definitely have to say the Wii is one for sure, because it changed how you played games.
I considered that one. Yeah.
And I spent many, many hours playing the Wii, whether it be the sports or just regular games, whether it be No More Heroes or Super Mario Galaxy or something like that. So many games, but I always felt like I was being active while playing it, doing something new.
Yeah.
They would add a wrinkle to how you play, and that just changed the game. And I loved that it felt like our gaming styles were evolving. And there's nothing wrong with, regular controller gameplay, but that was
They
just...
always wanted to do a little bit more.
It just felt so fresh. Like, we've done the controllers, we've done all your weird fucking controllers that you've come up with, and now...
We really have at that point, yeah.
And now we're doing a remote control, but it works. You know? Even when they were just like, it's motion control, just like, because we've been there, we've done that. We saw what the Power Glove did, nothing. So, okay.
Not wrong.
I had one. I was so fucking mad.
I don't know that I had the Power Glove. I know I had the gun. I know I had the pad that you would run and jump on to do like the hurdles, the sports and stuff like that. I don't know if I had the glove. I feel like it was a friend of mine who had it and brought it over and we played with it. But
Could be, yeah.
I don't remember it enough to know whether it worked or not.
So I would give that one a top spot just for innovating play, because even if it was just like, you have no idea how fun it was to actually have a console that I could get anybody to play with me on. So if my parents just happen to be over, you want to play bowling? Sure.
True.
I
feel like my sister and I did that. And she goes, well, this is just like real bowling. She's like, I stand up, I roll the ball, I sit back down and have a drink. And I was like, yeah, it's like we're really...
And we'd spend hours doing that. Like me and a buddy of mine that I worked with back when when it was all big, he would come over on Friday, Saturday nights, and we'd sit there and go through the gamut, play baseball, tennis, bowling, and just
fun
chit-chatting. That's it. So, yeah, I'll definitely give that one credit for a lot of reasons. I think I'd also have to give the Nintendo DS some props too.
Nice. Yeah.
Because now I don't know if that counts as a console per se, but I'm going to throw it in because innovation, same reason. They tried to find new ways to engage how we played. And I remember there was this one game that I respected the shit out of just because of their approach to the game. Now, whether the game was great or not, that's up to you to decide, but I just enjoyed this outside the box thinking of how you played it, and it was called Contact. Yeah. Have you ever heard of that?
I think so, actually.
This was I feel like I may have talked about it on the original show, but I'm not going to swear to it.
Because I didn't have a DS.
I'm not going to swear to it though, because I feel like it was something I wanted to talk about, but I'm not sure if I ever got around to talking about. But
Atlas. Okay.
The concept is that there was, because remember, 2 screens.
Yeah.
You had the protagonist character at the bottom, and that's who you're controlling. And then there's a professor up top that you eventually start to communicate with. And when I say you communicate with, he's talking to you. You, the player, person on the outside, is controlling the dude down there. And he's aware of what you're doing. He sees you.
Oh, so at the time, that concept was really cool. Yeah.
And it was just that breaking the fourth wall concept. And we did see something very similar to that with the PlayStation Vita with Tearaway, where the camera would kind of see, the little paper characters or whatnot, or you could poke
Like
your finger.
reflecting back on the screen or something.
Yeah. Or you tap the back of it, and then you're making this bounce, or look, that's your finger. Oh my God, you're ripping through the paper. Little interactive things like that. They're so simple, but they make it fun. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was things like that with the DS. Same time as the Wii came out, just about. I mean, they were almost back to back to one another. So there's so much innovation coming out of Nintendo at that time, and I respected the shit out of it because there were so many fun games that we probably can't play now because
Not the way they like to do business, it seems.
Yeah,
They're not interested in preserving their art, and it's very confusing to me. I don't know.
So there are a lot of games that are going to be lost to time. I mean, I don't know how many hours I spent trying to raise a damn dog on that fucking thing. But you know what? It was fun. For what it was just something new. Okay. This one might get some odd looks, but trying to think of something that would be game changer for me. And I'm going to say the PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Because that was my turn into a new world of games, if you think about it. Because up to that point, I was strictly just Nintendo all the way. It always has been. Never had a Genesis. My brother, I bought him a PlayStation at one point because he was huge into Final Fantasy. And I got that for him for Christmas one year. But I never had one.
Yeah.
So I was just like Nintendo through and through. I had the 64, GameCube, Super, everything. Outside of a fucking Virtual Boy. But no, when I went to the 3 after Nintendo dropped the ball with the Wii U, and I was aching to play a game, I was just like, well, shit, they never have anything for me to play. Everything always gets to be exclusives on these other consoles. God damn it, I want to play these games too. So I made the jump. I said, I'm going to pick one, and Sony seems to be where the games that I want to play are. Fair. I did look at Xbox, and it just, I don't know, their offerings were not screaming to me the same way. So I haven't looked back since. I've been Sony since then. I mean, I still have a Nintendo console in the house. It's not like I abandoned them completely, but I don't play them as often.
Right.
It's just like a little here, a little there, just whenever the mood strikes me a certain way. But no, the PlayStation 3 opened my world to a vast array of games. Like I didn't know games could be played this way. I think one of the first games I played was Heavy Rain. And
see? Yeah, so you definitely jumped into an odd one.
It was just like, okay, let's Jason! But I'd never played a game like that, The graphics were just like mind blowing.
At the time, like I look at it now and I'm like, it's still pretty good, but you see through it, But I felt the same way where I was like, oh my God, they look at the expressions on their face and how well they can emote. And,
There was just so much about it when I moved over. And of course, I think it wasn't long after that The Last of Us came out when I got it. So, I mean, I was in hog heaven. I had all these games plus the PlayStation Plus, and it was like, here's a freebie. And I'm like, bring them on, and I took everything that I could get. It took me forever. Like I had Saints Row 3 in my library forever, thinking that it was just another run-of-the-mill knockoff.
Like GTA kind of thing.
And then finally I just said, well, I've got nothing else at the moment. So let's give this a try. See, and I fell in love. I was like,
beautiful.
Shit.
Yep.
So those would probably be my 3. If the DS doesn't count, then throw in the fucking Nintendo.
There you go. The original one.
For reasons that we've discussed, I'm sure.
Yeah. Or just the nostalgia of it all.
Yeah.
Top 2 movies of all time. So this was another one that was hard for me, but I just chose 2 that I know every time I see it around that I'll just watch it. Like I would say every time I see it on, but we're not in that kind of world anymore. You kind of have to hit play. It's not like just flipping through TV anymore. But Evil Dead 2. Anytime, someone suggests it or anything, like, yeah, I'm down to watch it. And Clue.
Clue. That is a solid choice.
No matter how many times I've seen it, I will sit and watch it again. It's just lovely. It's wonderful. All of my like favorite people. It was amazing. And I love the lore behind when it actually, or not lore, it did happen that, that different audiences got a different ending. So it wouldn't get spoiled when it was new, to a degree that we do now, and then, you get to see all of them. Now that movie I could probably quote a little bit, like how you and I always have conversations where it's just like, I don't know how you guys remember stuff for movies all the time. Like that one I can. I love it. So I'll make that nice, neat, and sweet there.
Yeah.
And short. Because we got a few to get through.
Favorite movies. See, again, not a thing I like.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'll go back to Jaws. Why not? Sure. It's solid. And this might. Well, shit. This is difficult.
It is hard. It is really hard.
I'm gonna say Fright Night.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because it's
fun.
It's a fun horror movie that's original. But see, now, even as I'm saying that, then I'm like, oh, shit. I think Roddy McDowell, and I'm like, well, fucking Planet of the Apes. I love Planet of the Apes. It's probably one of my favorites. Absolute favorites. God damn it. See, I don't like...
It's hard.
This is why I don't like favorites. I don't like it.
I can't pick a favorite of all of my BBs. I love them all.
Because Planet of the Apes is so fucking good. And that's another one of those that I can want. All right, you know what? Jaws and Planet of the Apes. How's that?
There you go. That'll ask me next week. It'll be different.
Yeah. Because just thinking about Planet of the Apes right now, I'm just like, such a fucking great movie. And people, I'm not going to get into it.
It's good. We'll have to do it. We'll have to do an episode on Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Hey, there's a new movie coming up. Or probably already out by now. It's out.
So your least favorite video game that you finished of all time. Now this one was another hard one because I streamed a lot of games and they were not all gems. And I suffered through so we could finish it up, So really, I think I'm just going to be very blanket and anything by BMC Studios. Because by the time, I go through all of my FMVs, they were kind of the butt of any of my joke where I'm like, I'm looking at you, BMC, when something really stupid or bad would happen. Let's just say they were so bad that even Steam's like, nah, and they're kicked off. They can't even sell their games on Steam anymore because it was just so stupid. But since it was FMV, I was like, I'll try it. I watched the videos for it. I knew it didn't look like it was going to be great, but usually I can find something redeeming and nope, screw you kids. Look at you. I'm so glad you had cameras and could figure this out, but no kids, this ain't it. So yeah, anything by BMC Studios.
Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, if it was possible to finish any game from Gilson B. Pontus, I would say one of his piece of shit games. But you can't finish those because it's impossible to win. So I can't say I finished those. So trying to rack my brain because I usually just say, nah, I'm good, and I just turn shit
tap
off.
Out.
Yeah, because if I'm not feeling it, I'm not playing it. Yeah. But I do remember playing one piece of shit game to completion just because it was like I had nothing else to play, and that was Jaws Unleashed. It was for the Wii, and I thought, meh. But it was not.
It's not good.
No. I can't remember very much about it other than it just being absolute garbage, and I just don't. I don't.
Then that counts.
Yeah, I mean, Maneater. That was the game I was wanting when that game came out, and that was not it. So,
well, at least it finally came for you.
Yeah, in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one. I can't think of any others outside of that one. That's the only one I know. I know I beat it, and I was just like, well, I did this, I guess.
I beat a game. Look at me. Yeah. And I guess this is kind of a bonus question. He just said he was curious if either or both of you have a favorite book or book series or both that you would recommend to your listenership. And then in quotations, comics and manga are a separate question, but light novels are fair game.
Well, then I can't help you here.
I was going to say the only one that I can really remember actually reading a full series on and enjoyed was the Dresden Files. It was about an openly practicing wizard in the city of Chicago who worked with the police on weird and strange cases. But it just took on its whole other life in the fantasy realm with just the different types of vampires now that come across and all these different like wizardy type things, like all of fantasy, but still steeped in the real world. And I loved it. And I don't know if you were like, that's probably what you meant by book series. Cause there was, 16, 17 books, maybe more, in that series. And bonus, they did make a TV series based on it on TNT, and we don't talk about it.
Oh no.
They butchered it so bad. I was just distraught. This is the only thing I can think back on where when I see people lose their mind over fictional things that I go, you know what? I kind of get it.
It's like I'm on your side.
Like they screwed everything up so hard in this show that I just like, I couldn't even finish the show. And it didn't even go past, I think, half a season. So pretty much all of us were like, what are you doing? All of us were fans of this. And like, I think what pissed me off the most is he talks in every book about this VW Beetle that he drives because his wizard aura. This is why I always made the joke I must be a wizard when Tech breaks around me, because in the book Tech breaks on him. Like his wizard aura like throws shit up. So VW Beetle, very no tech. You know, we're talking like old VW Beetle that's been put together because of his crashing so many times with different colored hood and a different colored car. They had him pull up in a Jeep. And that's when I was like, I'm done. That is the one thing he described in detail every fucking book. And you have him drive up in a Jeep. I mean, there was plenty of things I could complain that they changed about it. But that was when I turned it off. I'm like, we're done. You did not understand the book at all. If you're going to nope. Anyway,
Fair.
How about you? I could bitch about that series forever.
I know it seems, I don't know, there seems to be some sort of judgment if you don't read books. It's not like I don't like to read books or that I don't read books or have never read a book. I just don't read often.
Just don't do it as
or at
often.
least in
Yeah.
book form, you know. So yeah, the comics and manga, I would probably lean more that way if they were on the table. But since they're not,
Okay, well, let's put it on the table. What's your favorite?
Akira, hands
There
down.
we go.
Manga.
There we go.
You know, comics. Comics is a different beast altogether. Like I know manga can go on forever. I've seen my wife's bookshelf of manga.
Sure. Yep.
But Akira is very much 6 big, thick books, and that's it. And that's required reading as far as I'm concerned.
There you go.
I can think of several comic books, or like Watchmen or The Dark Knight. I know people will be like, "Oh yeah, everybody says that," but they're for a reason.
They're still good. Yeah. If
for a
everybody
reason.
says that, it's because they're good, people.
But I have read
It's
books.
okay to like things other people like.
Yeah.
I know we like to think we're all special, that we found that one thing that nobody understands and they just don't get. It's like, it's okay to like things that other people like. That's why people like it.
Yeah, they're classics for a reason. But
Sorry, you're basic. Okay, just live with.
But if I had a book to recommend that wasn't based off of a movie, because I have read Jaws, I have read Planet of the Apes, very much deviating from the source material. Good books, but not the movies.
Not the same.
But maybe this is about to be turned into a movie, and I did read the book first. Turtles All the Way Down by John Green.
Okay.
It's definitely about mental states, how you, trying to think of how to describe it. It felt very personal, like how my brain works. I could relate to how this person's brain works and their quirks and everything. So there's a movie coming out. You'll watch the movie if you've not read the book. Just go do that because it's easier, I suppose.
Well, and I feel like just do that first. Unless you just hate to read, in which case you do you know. Like I don't definitely do it nearly as often as I used to.
I did think of one book that I actually read in high school that I actually did enjoy. Of Mice and Men. I thought it was a great book.
Good classic. Yeah.
So there you go. See, I threw a
See,
classic
we got
in.
there. We got there. All right. So we had some from Vaz.
Okay.
And you and I had what there were questions that was for you, and then one for me, and then
Okay.
for us both. So I'll just do yours first. So for Steven, have you ever played any more PSVR 2 stuff since you last talked about it on the show?
No.
No.
As sad as that is, and I hate to say that because I look at
I
it,
think it's dying.
I look at it
unfortunately,
all
already.
the time going, I really should play this. You know, I paid money for this thing and it's just sitting here collecting dust. And it's not like a matter of I don't want to play it, but
That's what is there to play.
there are few titles to really get engaged on yet. Even though I do have a few, I could play them. I just the setup, the whole setup thing is the other thing that just picking up
Hard
a
to get
controller,
through.
just hitting play and going. That's simple.
Oh, sure.
Doing VR, there needs to be a setup. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
got to move the table, got to get situated, and I also don't like playing when people are around. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Yeah, I don't want to just be playing VR in the middle of a room other people are milling about.
yeah, I
get
just
ya.
it doesn't feel right for some reason. Like I just
It's like you don't know where they're at, and I think that's what panics me. Like, are you behind me? Am I going to punch you? Yeah.
and it's not even that I'm worried I'm going to hit them. I feel like I'm isolating everybody. You know that too.
Oh, like
It's
you're
just-
ignoring them.
Yeah,
I
it's
just put a bag on my head and said, "Screw you guys."
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and I just I don't feel like I've had the opportunities where I've had my time alone and I could play it. And even when those opportunities arise, it's the farthest thing from my mind.
Sure.
So, as much as I hate to say it, no, I haven't. I wish I did play it more, but I haven't.
Gotta have the time. Yeah. And then he also asked if you had started doing any Steam games since you had a better laptop now.
No.
And I feel like I keep sending him games also, Vaz, that he's never played. So I'll just let you know that. I'm like, here's a game you might like. Here's a game you might like. Here's a game. And then nothing. I even told him he could hook it up to the TV so he could feel like he was playing a console. And nope.
I know. I'm terrible. Because, yeah, I have a library of games I've not even touched on Steam.
That's fair. So do I, though. But mine's just because for when I was streaming, for some reason, I just kept getting games and getting games and getting games. And I'm just like, I don't even know where half of them came from. I don't even know what all I have. So the hub sometimes goes, I want to play this game. And I'm like, well, let me check. I might. I don't know. And sometimes I do. It's like, there you go.
I mean, I feel like I would. It's not. I know I can move my laptop. I know I can do this
That's
thing.
the whole point of it. Nice and mobile. Yeah.
So I could do that. But it always comes down to the controller thing. Like I just want something that I know they're out there. I understand this.
I use
have
my
not-
PlayStation controller, by the way.
I think I have like an Xbox controller my son gave me some time ago that I have used, but just feels weird.
Yeah. We use the PlayStation one. Like even the Hubs has the PlayStation one hooked up to his PC for when he wants to play. So like we're in a day and age now where everything's like plug and play. You could probably use whatever controller you want at this point.
I do have that old Chromecast for the what is it called? The Stadia.
The Stadia?
Yeah, I do have that, and they did kind of open source it. So
There you go. Time to play with some stuff. Maybe we'll get him there yet. I don't know.
maybe.
Let's see. He had a question for me. What character am I going to first play in Slay the Spire 2? Which is hard. I don't know. I guess the Skeletal Warrior because it looks wholly new. So I would be curious to try to, climb the ranks with that one to see what its special powers and everything would be. I liked the Silent in the original one. So between that and the Ironclad, I could see me defaulting to the Silent over Ironclad. Just because I've never was like a clobbering tanky type fan, like for myself personally. Of course, they got rid of the Defect, which breaks my heart because that was my favorite one. But it was probably OP. Which is probably why I gravitated towards it more anyway. So yeah, I think I'll try the Skeletal Warrior first. And then if I hate it, like there was that fourth character in the original one with the chick that I couldn't stand her. I just couldn't stand her setup. I couldn't stand how you played her. Then it would probably be the Silent.
Okay.
That's probably what it'll default to. And then for both of us, if you could create an indie game, something kind of simple, like in the 8 or 16-bit era, preferably. And then he said, I'm sure Lace would do FMV LOL, which maybe you don't know. No. What type of game would you make if you were to make one in the 8 and 16-bit era?
Whew, that's
It's hard.
tricky because obviously platformers would be the common way of going about it. That's what we've always done. Damn, I don't know. Like, what
That's a
could
hard
you
one.
do? Because there were so many things that they tried to do back then, but they weren't capable of, or maybe the technology wasn't there.
Well, I guess he said something simple like in the 8 to 16-bit era, preferably. So it doesn't sound like you have to choose that. I guess he was like, if it could be in this one, preferably, that'd be cool. If I'm butchering it, Baz, I'm sorry, and then we'll just answer it how we want. But I took it to mean he'd prefer it to be in that style, but if not, what would you do, I guess?
Ask the question again to make sure I understood it correctly.
Okay. If you could create an indie game, something kind of simple like in the 8 or 16-bit era preferably, what type of game would you make?
I really don't know.
Yeah, that one's hard. I feel like I would default to, if I were more creative, for like those old school RPGs. But I don't know that I'm creative enough to really think of different branches or different ways that it could go, even in that technology, but that would probably be what I would want to try to go for, is an old school RPG like that, where we're making the story up as we're going along, in theory. Even though I pre-programmed it with my story.
I think I have an idea.
Okay.
And this is actually based on an idea that I've had in the past. So there was a story that I wrote back, loosely wrote a story because it really wasn't a narrative at first. But there was this little drawing that I did back when I was 10, and it was just like of this little maze. And I turned it into a series of things.
Oh.
Like, you can go on the website that I mention every episode and you can look this
Lock
up.
me up in a maze.
And I just called it Steven's Wacky Maze, a little silly ass name that I came up with this thing. And like I said, you want to look into the lore of that, it's on the website. But I patterned it off of video games because that was my obsession at the time. So you can see all the video game influences in the drawings.
Okay.
So if I could find a way to adapt that into an 8 or 16-bit game, yeah, absolutely would do that. I think the problem would be is like, how do you translate the concept? Because you have a maze, you have a map pretty much of where everything would be going.
Kind of like Snake, maybe?
Maybe. Because it would have to be, because the concept, is, at least as far in my mind, I would want to take what I drew out and basically replicate it in some way as your map.
Ooh.
But then
What
how
if
do
it
you
was
play
kind
that?
of like Labyrinth? Did you ever play that like board game-ish Labyrinth, where you had like the two knobs and you rolled the ball through the maze to try to avoid going into the little hole?
That sounds familiar.
I had one. So that's
Okay.
it's like they had little silver metal balls, and I want
Yeah.
to say there was like a knob on the bottom and on the right side, and then you'd turn it, left or right or up and down or whatever to move the ball through, and then hopefully not fall in a hole and make it to the end.
Okay. So, yeah,
I don't know.
maybe something in that vein.
I was
Sure.
just throwing out another idea. Like maybe we could do that.
I mean,
A top-down kind of,
yeah, even the way the story would play out, I could see it in my head. Like you could do a decent story with it to make it make sense and feed into the narrative. But the gameplay element would be, if you could maybe mix some elements, perhaps, so it's not a top down, not just a platformer. You mix the elements depending on how the situation is playing out. Because I
or
feel
what
like
maze you've come up to. Yeah.
because I feel like your gameplay could be the isometric, maybe, as you're kind of navigating the maze. But then when you go into battle mode, that kind of goes side by side. Because I even drew the like anytime you're fighting a boss, or that's how I perceive this story in my head.
Sure.
The boss, it would be like, hero on this side, boss on that side. So I think that would be your boss combat.
Would it be like
that.
turn-based, or would it be live action combat?
I think it would be action combat. So you'd kind of have the patterns of the boss or whatever, and then you got to get in and get your hits in and whatever. I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
I think that's good. It's a better answer than mine. Let's see here. So we have from Jed. Now, this one was hard for me for reasons we've already discussed. But if you were allowed to be in charge of one movie franchise, which one And what would you do with it? The what would you do with it is where I'm stuck, because I can complain about things, but I don't want to complain about things if I'm not offering a solution, and I've never really thought through a solution to the things that I've disliked.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly, and I feel like I've thought this over many, many times. I would want to take the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise and guide it into a proper direction, because nobody seems to know what the fuck to do with this film series, because every movie is so loosely connected to anything. And that last one, just,
if you could see the look on his face, y'all, he is not happy. Weren't they all just remaking of the remake of the remake of the remake? That's what I feel like it is. It's the same movie with different actors each time.
Just about at this point, because I like the original, the very first one by Tobe Hooper. That was actually going to be one of the other movie titles that I was thinking of saying when it was like favorite movie, because I hold that in high regard. Love it. Watched it so many times. And it's a franchise that has never really moved past the first movie. Like Toby did part 2, and that was an odd fucking movie. Like I watched it back to back for the first time with the first one. Like watched both of them back to back. Never seen them before. So it was a very big tonal shift from super horror to something like a dark comedy. And I was like, what happened here? You know,
I don't think I've ever seen the second one, so now I'm curious.
It's really bizarre.
Like an Evil Dead to Evil Dead 2 situation. You're like, what? That's a different movie.
Honestly, yeah, it really does kind of come off in that vein, because
interesting.
Bill Moseley being kind of his, if you know anything about him and his performances, he's hamming it up. Like he is loving every minute of his character, and he's just having fun. And he's just one of the highlights, you know. And so he's kind of bringing that goofy, silly, dark comedy shit to it. And then they just throw in these other odd things. But even Tobe Hooper himself has said in the past, he viewed the original movie as kind of a dark comedy. I'm like, I don't see it, but okay.
To each their own, I guess. But yeah, I don't know about that.
I didn't quite see it that way, but whatever. And so he felt like he was just amping it up. He went from the 70s. Now we're focused on the 80s. Now we're going to, you know, make fun of this and that in the 80s and whatnot. And I was like, all right, cool. So he had a clear vision of what this series was to him. When they tried to move it over to part 3 at New Line, they had somebody who had a gist, and it almost kind of seemed like that soft reboot kind of thing where the original events kind of happened, but we're not really going to reference it. And we got a new family. Like you said, new characters, new family. Setup's just about the same.
Yeah.
Part 4, same thing. You reference the original movie, setup's the same. Then you go to the remake, same thing.
Yeah.
Prequel to that. Clever idea. I appreciated you were doing your own thing, but you went and did something that was removed from the original story, so now you've just kind of created your own thing. Fair enough. I respect that. But I like this other thing over here.
Yeah.
But I still respect what you did. Then there was the 3D remake, which again, they cannot let go of the past. Like they had to reiterate a scene after the fact of the first movie. It's like, well, what happened after she got away? Who cares? Yeah, you've done these narrations at the beginning of every fucking movie. You've told us what happened after the fact. Yeah. It doesn't matter anymore. But no, now we've got to add new wrinkles. And how the fuck can Leatherface still be alive? Because when you do the math, he should be 60, 70 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they ever talk about that?
Nope.
Was it in order? Are they saying we started in the 70s and we're absolutely now in the 2000s or whatever?
Well, see, that's where they get you, because they did start the movie in 1973, like a day or so after all that happened. Suddenly there's more family members. That was an odd. I was like, where the fuck did you people come from?
The hills have eyes.
And then when you get into what is present day, which is supposed to be 2010 maybe, everything feels so not 2010, or the time, like when you start to think of like the time that has passed, it's like something's not adding up here. Like if we did if you're counting the years, you shouldn't be in 2010, But if you are in 2010, then this doesn't make sense. But if you're not in 20,
they had no idea.
Yeah, it was a mess. When you really start to break it down, like if you can shut your brain off and not think about it, sure, it's fine.
Sure, there you go.
But when you really start to break it down, then you're just like, something's not adding up. I never watched Leatherface, which was like how he became Leatherface, because we all needed to know that fucking story. And then I watched
How are we supposed to have an origin story?
But why? Why does it matter?
Because we don't have ideas.
And then, of course, no ideas. Hey, let's rip off Halloween, the reboot, and do that same thing and bring back a character. But we're not going to cast the same actress. We're going to get new actors playing that character. But why?
Probably other actresses like, I'm done.
I don't think she was alive, but still.
Oh.
Just
well, then still done.
Yeah, still, it's like, why? Why are we, who? Doesn't matter. So all you're
I don't know who makes these decisions.
Yeah, and each iteration, they just keep reneging on something that happened before or just changing shit. And there's never been a clear path with that franchise. And I feel like every person that touches it drops the ball. And am I going to say that I'm going to make it great or I'm going to save it? I don't know. But I feel like the passion that I have,
it's not working.
Yeah, I have the passion for the characters and everything, that if I was to do a reboot of the franchise, I would have a clear path. If we're going to do more than one, here are the rules. Mm-hmm. But first we got to focus on this first one and how we're going to make this work. And maybe let's take it out of 1973. Let's start anew.
What's his kids doing, man?
Yeah. Like
something.
You could still have some of these backwater people in the world,
Oh, God, yeah.
So just fucking do that, but just modernize it. And I know they'll say cell phones and shit. Have you been out into the rural areas of some places before where there is no fucking cell reception?
There is no cell service, yeah.
That shit happens.
It does.
So don't give me that they got cell phone shit, because it doesn't work.
Which
like
I
that.
do agree, cell phones and all that kind of stuff did kind of take the romance out of some horror, you know, especially like once you got into the 2000s, because in the 90s and earlier, you could still be like, I have to run because this is my only option, but you could make it work.
I think so.
To a degree. You're right.
What about you?
Me, honestly, the only thing I could think of outside of me naming off franchises that should have just stopped before they did, like my only suggestion would be like, stop. Stop making more. We're done here. Like Scream, stop making more. We're done here. But I would, I guess, say Indiana Jones, because I was extremely disappointed in the aliens angle. I still am. You can hate me if you want. I just don't see aliens and Indiana Jones being the same thing. He was just looking for old relics, and I know how you could probably cross those things, but no, I didn't like it. So for me, it would just be like, stop with that element and let's make it, some other relic or timepiece or something in the past that we're looking for, and could make it just as interesting. We could just take that element out and put one back in that makes sense.
Sure.
For what you are. I mean, yeah. So that would be I haven't thought it all the way through or what I would have done or anything like that. I just know I wouldn't have done that, and I would have made it still an Indiana Jones movie. After your first three. So there would be my suggestion again. You should have stopped after that last third one, and we should not have made these last two, in my opinion. But or was it three more?
No, it was only two.
It was only two. Okay. But that's me. We should have just stopped. Or basically any comic book franchise, Marvel franchise, I would have just chosen different villains instead of, Jokering it to death or, Riddler it to death or whatever the hell. We've had the same ones that we just keep going. Like Aquaman, I would have given you a new villain. Why would it have been the same one? Like, I would do those things. Sure. Like if I see reboots of Batman, where I'm like, yes, we've done Bane, we've done Joker, we've done Riddler. How about, I don't know, Hush? How about Ventriloquist? How about, I know we had a little Mad Hatter in like the old series or whatever, like on TV, but like those are more interesting characters. Ventriloquist, I think even you've said that. Like, I think that would be phenomenal. I actually heard rumors Hush might be in the next Batman.
I could see that.
And I was like, that was one I thought would also be interesting. Like, you kind of got like the two of the same person, but only Hush wanted the parents to go. But Bruce stepped in the way for that one, so I think that would be interesting. So I kind of hope it is as interesting as I'm hoping. I thought he would have been a cool one to put in. And then as I was actually looking some stuff up for this here, I was just like, oh, I didn't know he was rumored to actually maybe be in the next Robert Pattinson Batman. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have done. I would have been like, we have this huge variety of really interesting villains to pull from. Why is it always the same ones? So that's what I would do. Like, if you're rebooting these, pick a new one. There's some really cool ones in there that are interesting that we could pull. So that would be me. That's what I would change. Let's see. His other question: if given the opportunity to quantum leap like in the show, but with a guaranteed way back, would you?
I guess I would have to know what my purpose was in doing so. Because if you're quantum leaping, I feel like then you are changing history for someone. So am I going back for a specific purpose to help change something? Or am I just traveling back in time?
Let's just say for this one, you're just traveling back in time. You probably have to inhabit somebody else's body, though. Like, because he said quantum leap, so I would imagine we would... However that works in someone's body.
But I feel like that also raises questions, because then whose body are you going to be in? What life are you going to have to deal with? Shit. If I could go back in time or quantum leap into someone who's got a really good life, and I can just enjoy it for just a day.
What it's like to have money for a day or something.
Yeah. Then sure. If it was to actually witness something I've always wanted to see that, you hear about in the history books, maybe. Yeah, I think I would do it.
I think I would too, just because the opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, I know that my own moral hangups about all of it before when we were talking about the show, when we were just like sleeping with these people or doing whatever, with somebody else's body. But I just don't know that I could pass it up.
Yeah.
It'd just be really hard. So you're saying I could go back to a certain point in time, observe for a while, and I'm guaranteed to be able to come back to my own life? Yeah, I'd probably want to poke around for a minute. My morals only go so far. So yes, I would say yes. And then what's the best and worst concert you've ever been to?
I haven't been to very many, and I feel like all the ones that I have been to have been pretty good.
Well, that's good. All right, well then your favorite one, if you don't have a bad one.
I'm going to say, no. Damn.
I remembered more concerts that I had been to than I had thought of when I was actually trying to think of this one the other day. Because I was like, I don't really go to... Oh, wait. I did that one, and I did that one. Okay. I had to ask the hubs. I'm like, over the last 20 years, where'd we go?
You know what? I'm going to say Flight of the Conchords. I saw them.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I saw them at the Ascend Amphitheater in Nashville, and I'd never been to that venue before. It was outdoors, or if I had been there, I don't remember. It's been a while, because I think I saw Aerosmith in an amphitheater, but I don't feel like it was that one.
Okay.
Or at least it didn't feel the same. I don't know. Different time. There's a hell of a gap between those two concerts.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
But no, Flight of the Conchords, we got, we were right there, not in the front row, but at least maybe 2 rows back. So we had like a nice view of them. And they were just a delight, man. I mean, talking to people and engaging with everybody. It was just, that was a lot of fun.
Nice. Let's see. So my favorite one, I had to just choose. So I'm just going to go with like the first real big one that I remembered going to. And it's the very first Family Values tour in 1998. So it was their first round of Family Values. I got in before Ice Cube got replaced with Incubus. So I remember it was Korn and Rammstein, Limp Bizkit, Orgy, Ice Cube. And they put on a phenomenal show. It was kind of crazy. And if you've ever heard anything about Rammstein, yes, everything was lit on fire and it was very hot. because I was in the floor. So this is when I was young enough to think the mosh pit was still going to be cute and fun.
Oh, damn.
You know, because we would sit in there and just smoke weed in the middle of it, you know, because you weren't allowed to yet. So just passing this joint around, because I do remember one guy, I don't even know who he was. That was my favorite story. It was like, you want some? And he pulls a joint out of his pocket and someone lights it. And then he pulls out like another one. And then it was like another one. And I'm like high and thinking this is hilarious. I'm like, where do you keep getting them all from? You know,
Got a pocket.
every pocket. This guy just had a joint. But yeah, it was great. I mean, I think that, again, this was when I say Limp Bizkit was good. I say $3 bills, y'all, and earlier, like that kind of stuff. Chocolate Starfish, I guess, and earlier. Those were the good days. And then they went to rap for me later on. He had like a big alien spaceship on the stage, you know, and I remember them doing that. And yes, Rammstein lit everything on fire and shot fire over the audience. Like, it was probably not to code.
Probably not.
I mean,
hey.
he even lit the guitar on fire and like broke it on stage, you know, so.
Aren't they German? Aren't they a German
I had
band?
no idea anything they were saying. And of course, I was that person. I only knew Du hast.
Yeah, Du hast.
You know, still right now, that's the only thing I can think of is Du hast. And they have a very long library of songs.
I've got at least 3 or 4 of their songs in my one of my playlists, and I don't know what the hell they're saying, but I just love the intensity in which they sing.
Yep. And it was, and I was really into that. I think there was just something about always bands who could mishmash 2 different kind of genres together well that I always gravitate towards. Because if I think about like my favorite bands of all time, they kind of mushed sounds together and it tickled my ear and I just loved it, you know? So I would say that was my favorite one. Worst one? That was hard, but I'm going to say DC Talk because it was a Christian rock band. And I remembered being forced to like go with some friends of mine from like a church or VBS or some crap that I had to go to. And just trying to see like all these Christians like headbang and all this stuff was just, I don't know, it felt really weird and awkward. And I just remember their big song at the time was Jesus Freak. So look it up if you're curious. Anyway, so that's do you have a worst one? Or are we good? You wanna?
No, because I haven't encountered
hard.
enough to where I know of a bad one.
I feel like I enjoyed most of the ones that I've been to. Or I've completely blocked out the bad ones or something. But I used to go way more until the prices like got stupid. And I'm just not willing to pay $300-400 for a concert. I'm just not.
And see, even as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm thinking about another one that I would probably have vying for my favorite. And that would be Weird Al. Because
Oh God, see, I'm jealous.
you talk about a show.
Right?
That man,
I bet.
that was a show. Like all the bits that he did, he showed video. There was a whole bit where he brought out Star Wars characters to sing that one song that he did.
Yeah.
Like came into the audience and was just like fucking with people.
He's got to be amazing.
Yeah.
just has to be.
That one was another good one. Shit.
I need to make that one before it's too late for sure. And then his last question was, who was your first celebrity crush?
Well, that depends on how you define celebrity. Like just someone I saw on TV, or
I would imagine if you saying celebrity, like well known, maybe, or at least well known at the time. And if I'm interpreting that wrong, Jed, I'm sorry. We can fix it for the next one.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of women that I would have known at a certain time in my life.
You weren't like an Alyssa Milano fan? Like, isn't that who all the dudes our age was into?
Did not find her attractive.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
just did
no,
not.
that's fair. But that's usually the answer I hear from my age group.
Well, see,
And maybe a little older, actually.
you know what? I don't know why this didn't even come to my head. It would have been Catherine Bach, Daisy Duke. She would have been the first woman
Gotcha.
that just caught my eye, especially at that age, because damn, you know.
Right? No, you're not wrong. Yeah.
And even to this day, I still think she's very attractive. And yeah, I think it would had to have been her. Had to have been. Because she would have been on my radar, a show that I was watching, and just, yeah. Catherine Bach.
and just very well put together. So you're
Yep.
like, ooh, as you're waking up to how nice women look, you know?
So as far as a celebrity, because the only other person that came to mind was, it was a victim in Friday the 13th Part 5. And you talk about an awakening for a child. Well,
A child.
That was a child. It was just like, oh, she's kind of, but no one knows who she is. Like if I said her name, you'd be like, who? You
Yeah,
know?
I don't. I would have to. Well, I say that about people I do know. Like, what's
Yeah.
their name? So,
Who is it?
yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll give it to Daisy Duke.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
What about you?
Mine was easy. Jonathan Brandis.
Okay.
Oh, I was so in love with him. I had every picture out of every teen magazine pasted on my wall, like taped right there. Anything he was in, I watched. I watched Ladybugs. I watched Sequest. I mean, Never Ending Story 2. He was my world, baby. He was gonna be my husband. I was in love with him. So that was easy. That was easy for me.
Such a
first one.
shame, man.
It really is. That broke my heart. It broke it.
He was a talented kid.
He was.
I really think he would have made it.
I
But,
do too. I do too.
anyway.
I mean, who knows? Like Sequest wasn't doing great, and I think it was about that time where things. I mean, the transition for a lot of people is hard.
Sure.
You know, sometimes the kid actors don't do well into adulthood or whatever. We can point to a few, but yeah, no, I thought he was really good, and it is a shame, and it broke my heart. But no, I was so in love with him. I can remember getting into fights with like other girls at school or whatever about how he was always better than yours.
Oh.
He was better than your crush. I can tell you that right now. So let's see. And then, now the last one we have is from Eric.
Okay.
So if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I've debated this a lot in my
Right?
days.
It's a hard one.
I think it would have to go with speed, super speed, like Flash level
Okay.
speed.
Nice.
Mainly because the more I've pondered this, because I thought about flight, I thought about strength, things like that. But for some reason, I think that one speaks to me more because I have this problem where I feel like I never have enough time in the day. So if I had that,
Well, what if
I
your power was adding another hour to the day?
I mean, sure, but then I'm fucking with everybody. I just like, what could I do to benefit me? And if I could just
Okay.
get up out of bed and I could run to work in like a snap of a finger,
Sure.
I would fucking do that. And then they
Like
say
teleportation.
it's time to go home. I'm there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go anywhere in the world. I'm there. I think, super speed would just be top notch for me. Like
That
I
would be a
could
lot of
benefit
fun.
so much. Like all the shit that I wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
done.
Done. Yeah. Get there quick, baby.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you,
I know. I did the same thing. I'm like, flight would have been cool. Teleportation would have been cool. I don't know. Probably telekinesis because I want to be lazy.
okay.
You know, like I really want to be more lazy than I already am. And if I could just like will things to me or will things away from me, I think is because all you assholes in my way when I'm driving somewhere, you will be up in the air until I get to where I need to be.
Yep.
Yep. So that's over there. Need a napkin? Let me will it from the kitchen. We got this. Straight to my face and let it wipe my face for me even. I don't know. I think that would be the one that I would love. Just like to
Yeah, there's
shit with my mind.
many times I've thought about that very same thing, and I would not be a good person with it.
No, I
Like-
would be so selfish with it. You wouldn't even know.
So many times that I've just seen assholes like driving like 90, 100 miles an hour, and just like, what is your fucking hurry, dude? I just want to hit the brakes on their vehicle.
Yep.
You know?
Then they'd fly through. So we got to like not kill them.
Yeah. So just
Because I mean,
scare
laws
them.
and all that will still work. Yeah. Yeah. Slow them down to where they can't. Or just lift them straight up. Like I said, you just stay there now
Mhm.
until you apologize and think about what you did.
Yeah. Calm the fuck down before you kill somebody, you idiot.
Yeah. Right?
Chill out.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Yeah. So there you go. As interesting as it is or not, I don't know. Let's see. He said, also, if you found a genie lamp, how would you use your 3 wishes?
Yeah. I think now, granted, obviously, I think most people.
I'd
would be
wish
like,
for the ability to have telekinesis.
yeah.
Duh.
Might ask for that superpower of speed. So yeah, no, I'll start with that. Yeah, I'd ask for the speed ability so I could have that superpower as long as that doesn't break any genie rules or some shit.
Yeah, those are our rules. What 3 wishes we got? Yeah.
And then, now I know this might sound weird because you could just ask for wealth, but I think I would want to be given the opportunity to have a job that would lead to the wealth being, like, I would never have to worry about money. I did a job.
A nice, comfortable, steady stream would just always be coming your way.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
whatever it may be, I do that job. Maybe it can lead to other jobs, but at least get that one job that allows me to have money at all times, never have to worry about it again. Not saying that I'm going to be filthy, stupid rich, but I can live the way I want to live comfortably and not have to worry about
Not have to worry about it.
anything. So that's 2. 3 would be to find the most beautiful, isolated spot where I could build a home. And with my super speed, could get anywhere I want,
There you
but be
go.
away
Yeah.
from everybody in this fucking world when I need a break, and don't have to worry about neighbors and stupid shit like that.
You're onto something there. I've often fantasized if the government would just leave me alone and just let me have my own little plot of land where I'm just doing my own thing. I don't want to pay your taxes. I don't want to participate in your society. I don't want nothing. I just want to sit right here, make my food, do my thing, and then die. That's all I want to do, you know? But they would never allow that because apparently you get to own land.
Yeah.
This one was hard. So yeah, I think I still would have had to go back to I want to have telekinesis. So can we do that? Now, I probably would get too stupid with it, and I would make the world not even need money, and I would get rid of that whole part of our society altogether.
Sure. Go Star Trek.
I'm sick of how people treat each other over it. I'm sick of how we pretend someone's better or not because we have it. I get rid of it. All of us were on a trade system. What do you bring to the table, bitch?
I like that.
You know? So if I could have my wish be that overarching for the entire world, I would just get rid of the need for money and screw you. Because I always hated participating in that part of society as it is. I have to, because that's what y'all decided before I got here. And then health, because mine loves to leave me a lot, and I'd like it to stop doing that. And I'd like to feel good and healthy so I can telekinesis everything to me without any money. So that would probably be mine. Telekinesis, good health, and entire world. I've just gotten rid of your need for money. Come up with a better way. Let's see. His other question. What's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Eric, what the fuck, man?
6. I don't know.
So, all right. So if we do our math here, all right.
We're
so
doing math. Okay.
for calculating the wind speed, and then there's the airspeed, and then I really
And
I
even
think
like the weight of the swallow, like how big's
the
the
weight of the
swallow,
swallow.
maybe? Is it
Mhm.
bigger swallow, a smaller swallow?
I mean, I'm thinking somewhere in the range of 25 to 45 miles an hour, give or take, depending on, because the weight thing, you got to
Sure.
think about that. And then how fast they can,
Well, are they lighter that high in the air?
could be. We don't know. So I'm just going to chuck it out there. 25, 45 miles an hour. It's a good range, right?
I like it. I like it enough that I'm stealing it because
Okay.
I didn't think about it at all. I don't know. 10
Fine.
million miles an hour. The bird is now shred apart. It is feathers and blood everywhere. Because could it handle that fast? I don't know. I don't think any of us could. And then the last one. What is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And I believe our answer is supposed to be 42.
It's 42. It's absolutely
42.
Yeah. I mean,
End of.
who doesn't know? It's
Who doesn't
42.
know that? It's 42. Like, as soon as I saw the question, I'm like, oh, yeah, 42. Who doesn't know
Duh.
that? Duh. That's
Come
it.
on, people, do your calculations. You know how this works.
Yeah.
It's all about an asterisk. That's all I'm going to say.
I think we should just leave it there.
Yeah,
I
I think
that was
so.
the most perfect answer for that. But
yeah.
we can't top it.
We can't.
You all,
We can't.
You all know what we mean, I'm sure.
Mhm.
No, but thank you guys, though. That was fun. That
Yeah.
was fun. And we got quite a few. Look at us, hour and a half still.
Yeah.
We know
We-
we know
we-
how to milk these things.
Really tore this one up. So thank
Yeah.
you for your questions again. And if any of you out there have questions, we're posing it out there. We can do this episode again with new questions, new listeners. If you want to throw them in, do it on social media at Super Mega Crash or send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. I'd love to do this again because
Yeah. These are
sometimes
fun.
we don't think about these things. And keep this in mind. I know I'm bitched about the favorites lists. If you don't know how to word it any different, that's fine. Just understand that favorites for me is not a concept I really
It's
lock
hard
in
for
on.
me too, because like we both had already said, I probably watched a bunch of stuff or played a bunch of stuff, but do I continually think about it afterwards to the, that's where my brain stops. It's like, okay, we saw it, we did the thing, we're good, we moved on. And I think my brain seizes up with too many choices too. Like
Yeah.
I will get choice paralysis easy. That's why I can't pick shit on streaming. Like you just got to hit play on one. I won't decide. I won't.
Right.
It's just too much. So, yeah, I get that hard.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to phrase it as what's your favorite, whatever. It's just understand
You
that
might all get a different answer.
right. I can't really commit to a favorite of anything. And sometimes it's hard for me. But support the show over on Patreon. Leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app, and then keep up with all things over at pencilpaperproductions.com. Super Mega Crash. The links are in the show notes. Join us again next week, siblings. But until then, go beyond your limits.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.